Chapter 4, Section 2. This will be the last news section before we get to Christmas break. How do you feel about that? Writing equations in point-slope form. What did we talk about yesterday and Monday? Writing equations in which form? Slope-intercept. Y equals mx plus b, right? Now, we have this new form called point-slope form. If slope-intercept form needed a slope and a y-intercept to create the equation, for point-slope form, what do you think I need to create an equation? A point on your line, and a slope, and your slope. We're still going to have to find slope. So, let's get into 4.2. I don't want you to necessarily worry about writing this slide down. This slide is just explaining where our point-slope form is derived from. Point-slope form is derived from our slope formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We should all have that memorized, right? Point-slope form is derived from your slope formula. So, don't worry about this slide, just kind of pay attention to it. The next slide will actually give you the point-slope form, and we'll move on from there. So, given a point on a line and the slope of the line, you can write an equation of the line using point-slope form. Consider the line that passes through 2, 3 and has a slope of 1/2. Let x, y be another point on the line where x does not equal 2. You can write an equation relating x and y using the slope formula, with x1, y1 being 2, 3, x2, y2 being that x, y point that we were talking about earlier. So, if we plug our values into the slope formula, they gave us a slope of 1/2, so I'm replacing m with 1/2. y2 is y, so I plug that in for y2. Minus y1 is 3. x2 is x, minus x1 is 2. So everyone see where these values came from, given the information they gave us. We can multiply both sides by x minus 2 to cancel out that denominator. So I get 1/2 times x minus 2 equals y minus 3. This equation is in point-slope form right here. Y minus 3 equals 1/2 times x minus 2. Once again, this slide is just showing us where point-slope form is derived from. It's derived from our slope formula. Okay? So, this is what I'd rather you write down. And I really just want you to have point-slope form written down. If you want to write down the paragraph, you can. But I really just need you to know point-slope form. A linear equation written in the form y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 is in point-slope form. The line passes through the point x1, y1, and the slope of the line is m. So this is why we just need a point on the line and a slope. Our x1, y1 here will be an ordered pair somewhere on our line. M is the slope. This y and this x will just stay as y and x. So this is another form of a linear equation that you need to have memorized. You need to have slope-intercept form memorized. You should have standard form memorized. Probably should have made that more clear when we went over it. But you also need point-slope form memorized as well. And our slope formula. Are there any questions? Everyone have point-slope form written down? Like we said, the x1 and y1, that's the ordered pair that comes from your line, some point on your line. M is once again your slope. M represents your slope. This is in your textbook. Does everyone at least have this written down so I can move on? Everyone has point slope form written down. Okay. Example 1. Write an equation in point slope form of the line that passes through the point -8, 3 and has a slope of 1/4. So from here on out, we need to pay attention to what form of an equation it wants our answer in. Sometimes it might ask for slope-intercept. Sometimes it might ask for point slope. What's it asking for here? Point slope form. What is point slope form? Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. What two things do I need to write an equation in point slope form? A point on my line and a slope. Do I have a point? Yeah. Yep. Do I have a slope? Mm-hmm. Yep. So I can just plug these values in to point slope form and I'll have my equation. Okay? Like I said, this y value will just stay as y. Bring the minus sign down from your point slope form. y1 is the y value from the point that I'm using. So what's the y value from the point I'm using? 3. So I get y minus 3 on the left side of the equation. What does m always represent? Slope. What's my slope here? 1/4. This x will stay as x. Bring the minus sign down from point slope form. And then the x1 is the x value from my ordered pair. So what's my x value? -8. Is everyone okay with where I plugged in each value? I can kind of clean this up a little bit. Two negatives right next to each other makes a positive. I do want you to clean that up and put x plus 8 instead of x minus -8. So this would be my equation in point slope form of the line that passes through -8, 3 and has a slope of 1/4. Any questions how I got that? Are we okay with that? Let that sink in a little bit. Once again, this is just another form of an equation of a linear function. Okay? If I wanted to, I could rearrange this and put it into slope-intercept form. What variable would I have to solve for to get it in slope-intercept form? What variable would I want by itself? Y, right? Y equals mx plus b. So if I wanted to get it in slope-intercept form, I could distribute and then add 3 to both sides. I would have it in slope-intercept form. Okay? Any questions on example 1? Since it wanted it in point slope form, I'm leaving it in point slope form. We good? Yeah. So, when you are given 2 points on a line, the other day in our notes we were given 2 points, right? And on your assignments the past 2 days you've been given 2 points and you wrote an equation. One of those points was our y-intercept, right? Because it had an x value of 0. Today we'll see some that do not give us a y-intercept. So when you are given 2 points on a line, you can write an equation of the line using the following steps. Step 1, we always want to find the slope first, because no matter which form of the equation we're using, we always need a slope, right? Slope-intercept form has a slope in it. Point slope form has a slope in it. Step 2, use the slope and one of the points to write an equation of the line in point slope form. So those are 2 steps right there. So like I said, today, neither of your points will be a y-intercept for you. Neither one of them will have an x value of 0. You might see one thrown in there occasionally. If that's the case, if it's asking for slope-intercept form, you can jump straight to slope-intercept form with that. Any questions about our 2 steps here? Can I move on or are we writing it down? Okay, I'll give you a second. For time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Once again, these steps are written in your textbook in Chapter 4, Section 2. So if you need to, you can go back and get them from that, or you can go back and look at this recording on Canvas. Example 2. Write an equation in slope-intercept form. Notice which form it wants it in, of the line shown. What form does it want our answer in? Slope-intercept form. What is slope-intercept form? Y equals mx plus b. So my final answer needs to look like that. Okay? If I'm jumping straight to writing it in slope-intercept form, which two things would I need? Slope and a y-intercept. Let's find our slope real quick. Since we have a graph, I'm going to use my triangle here. Rise over run. Height of the triangle is my rise. How tall is my triangle? 4. That's my numerator. Over the width of my triangle is my run. How wide is it? 2. It's going downhill from left to right. What would slope dude say on that line? Nice negative, so I need to make sure it's a negative. What's negative 4 divided by 2? Negative 2. So my slope of this line is negative 2. There's my slope. I need a y-intercept. Can I see where this is crossing the y-axis? No, it doesn't show me where it's crossing the y-axis, does it? So, based on the two steps that were on the previous slide, what do I need to do? What does step 2 say? Yeah, I can write an equation in point-slope form first, and then convert it to slope-intercept form. Okay? Does it give me any specific point to use? No, it just says one of the points. It does not matter which point I pick to use, because I'm given 2 of them, right? I can pick any of those 2 that I want. So, we're going to use point-slope form, and then convert to slope-intercept. So which point do you guys want to use? Do you want to use 1, 2 or 3, negative 2? 1, 2. All right, I'll write that up here. So we'll plug our slope, negative 2, into point-slope form, and 1, 2 into point-slope form. Okay? So can someone raise your hand and read it off to me how I would write this in point-slope form using 1, 2? You don't want to take a shot at it. Go for it.
Y minus 2 equals negative 2x minus 1.
Everyone agree with that? I do as well. This y is just y. Bring the minus sign down from the form. y1 is the y value from the ordered pair you're using. So y minus 2 here. Equals your slope, which is negative 2. This x just stays as x. Bring your minus sign down. x1 is the x value from your ordered pair that you're using. Any questions how I wrote it in point-slope form? Like we said, though, it wants it in slope-intercept form. So I need to convert this to slope-intercept form by solving for, we said it earlier, which variable do I want by itself? Y. I'm going to solve for y. So what would be our first step here, solving for y? Not yet. We're going to do one thing before we add 2 to both sides. Distribute. We're going to simplify the right side by using distributive property. Negative 2 times x. Negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 1. Positive 2. We okay with distributive property? Now, how would I get y by itself? Add 2 to both sides. 2 plus 2. 4. Here's your equation in slope-intercept form. When you're converting from point-slope to slope-intercept form, it's going to be the same 2 steps every time. You'll distribute first, and then either add or subtract to get y by itself. Not too bad, right? Just 2 steps every time. Any questions on what we've done here? Make sure you pay attention to which form it wants your answer in. Okay? Now, there is actually a second way to do this that I'm going to show y'all, just in case you like this other method better. Okay? So, are there any questions about the method I just used right here?
No.
Can I erase it?
Yeah.
I can actually use slope-intercept form to find my y-intercept as well. Okay, let me show you how to do that. We still need our slope. Found our slope. I still need one of my points. Do you guys still want to use 1, 2?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll use 1, 2. So I can plug my slope in this ordered pair into this problem to find my y-intercept. So, what would I plug in for y right here? Anyone have any ideas? Not -2. Nope.
2.
2, because that's my y value of my ordered pair. Does that make sense? And if this method confuses you, throw it out the window and use the other method we just used. Okay? What's my slope?
-4 or -2.
-2. What would I plug in for x? 1, because that's the x value from my ordered pair. And I'm trying to find b, so that just stays as plus b. Does everyone have any questions on where I plug stuff in and why I did that? Let's simplify this right side. What's -2 times 1?
-2.
-2. I'm just solving for b. How would I get b by itself? Add 2. What does b equal? 4. For slope-intercept form, which 2 things do I need? Do I have a slope? Do I have a y-intercept? Yep. There's your answer. So, you can use this method if you would like. If that confused you, don't use it. If the other method made more sense to you, use the other method. It's pretty much the same amount of work either way. I don't think one method is any shorter than the other method, if I'm being honest. So, pick whichever one you like best. Make sure you read the directions and see which form it wants your answer in. Okay? Any questions about either method here? If it wants my answer in point-slope form, would I be using this method at all?
No.
No. I'd only use this if I wanted it in slope-intercept form. Okay? Write a linear function, f, with the values f of 4 equals -2 and f of 8 equals 4. This looks very similar to a problem we did on Monday in our notes. And from your assignment on Monday as well. Write a linear function f with the values f of 4 equals -2 and f of 8 equals 4. If it asks you to write a linear function f, that means it's wanting it in slope-intercept form. There's not any way to write point-slope form in function notation. Okay? So just know we want our answer in slope-intercept form here. So, how did we approach this problem the other day on our notes? Does anyone remember?
Numbers into parentheses.
Yeah, these can be turned into ordered pairs, right? What would f of 4 equals -2 be as an ordered pair? 4 comma -2. That number in parentheses is my x value. Whatever this function equals is my y value or my f of x value. Okay? So what would f of 8 equals 4 look like as an ordered pair? 8 comma 4. We okay with that? What do I need to find first and foremost? Slope. No matter what method we're using, we always need the slope, correct? So that should be the very first thing you do. Still using that slope formula that every one of us has memorized by now, right?
Yeah.
So between my two ordered pairs, what's my second y value? 4. Minus sign from the formula. What's my first y value? -2. Over, what's my second x value? 8. Minus, what's my first x value? 4. We're still good plugging into the slope formula. Hopefully you guys are pretty good at that by now. Two negatives right next to each other makes a positive. 4 plus 2 gives me 6. 8 minus 4 gives me 4. Does 6 over 4 reduce? What? 3 over 2. There's my slope. I'll go ahead and throw both methods up on the board, but which method do you guys want to do first? The point slope form method or using the slope intercept form to get your y-intercept? Slope intercept form? Does it matter which ordered pair we pick? No. Do you guys want 4, -2 or 8, 4? 4, -2. We use 4, -2. So, what am I plugging in for y if I'm using 4, -2? What? -2. What am I plugging in for m? 3 over 2. What am I plugging in for x? 4, because that's the x value for my ordered pair. And then I'm trying to find b, so that just stays as plus b. Everyone okay with how I plugged into my slope intercept form here? 3/2 times 4 gives me what? 6. How would I get b by itself? I subtract 2. Subtract 6 from both sides. What does b equal here? -8. Do I have a slope?
Yes.
Do I have a y-intercept? Yep, so I can plug straight into slope intercept form now. Y equals, actually, it wants a linear function f, so f of x equals what? 3/2 x minus 8. Any questions on that first method? Like I said, if this method confuses you, don't use it. Don't try to use it. Just use the other one you're more comfortable with. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and throw the other method up here. Using point slope form. Does it matter which point we use? No, which point do you want to use for this? Same point or 8/4? 8/4? We can use 8/4. And we'll see that we get the same exact answer. So, how would this look plugging into slope or point slope form? Using 8/4 and our slope of 3/2. Someone read it off to me if you want to take a shot at it.
Y minus 4 equals 3/2 x minus 8.
Y1 is just the y value from the ordered pair you're using. M is your slope. X1 is the x value from the ordered pair you're using. So y minus 4 equals 3/2 times x minus 8. We okay with that? I want it in slope intercept form, so I can write it as a linear function f. So what would be my first step here to get y by itself? Distribute 3/2 times x. 3/2 x. 3/2 times -8. -12. Everyone okay with distributive property? What's my next step to get y by itself? Add 4 to both sides. I get y equals 3/2 x, negative 12 plus 4. Negative 8. The only thing to do from here is to change the y to f of x because it wants a linear function f. Did I get the same answer? Yes, I did. Are there any questions on either method? Raise your hand if you like this first method we used better. Raise your hand if you like this second method we used better. Does it matter which one you use? No. Pick which one you like best, whichever one's easiest for you, easiest to remember. You can use either one. Questions on example 3? Last example here. The student council is ordering customized foam hands to promote school spirit. The table shows the cost of ordering different numbers of foam hands. Can the situation be modeled by a linear equation? Explain. If possible, write a linear model that represents the cost as a function of the number of foam hands. How are we going to tell if it's linear or not? Do we remember what it means for something to be linear?
Same thing, rate of change or whatever.
Yeah, constant rate of change, right? So I got to see if my x values and y values are changing at a constant rate. 4 to 6 plus 2, 6 to 8, 8 to 10 plus 2, 10 to 12 plus 2. Are those values changing at a constant rate? Yes. Now let's look at the other values, the cost, the dollars. 34 to 46 plus 12. 46 to 58 plus 12. 58 to 70. 12, 70 to 82. Would you say this is linear or nonlinear? This is linear. And your explanation? So you would say, yes, this can be this situation can be modeled by a linear equation because it has a constant rate of change. That would be your explanation. So, it says, if possible, write a linear model that represents the cost as a function of the number of foam hands. It wants a function, so which form do we want it in? If it wants us to write y as f of x. Slope-intercept. Yeah, it wants it in slope-intercept form. Okay. Do I have a y-intercept anywhere here? Does it give me a y-intercept? How do I know? Yeah, none of my x values, my top row, are 0. So I'm not given a y-intercept. Okay? So, we can approach it using one of those two methods that we used earlier. I'm going to go ahead and use point slope form first, and then I can throw the other method up here as well if you guys want me to. Does it matter which point I pick? No. First off, what's our slope? Remember, our slope is our change in y over our change in x. So in this case, it would be 12 over 2. What's 12 divided by 2? Slope would be 6 here. Everyone okay with that? So let's plug into point slope form. Which ordered pair do you guys want to use for 34, 646, 858, 1070, 1282? 1282? So if I'm using 1282, what's my y1? 82. What did we say our slope was? 6. And what's my x1? 12. We okay there? If we're using this method, we okay with that? We want it in slope-intercept form so we can write y as f of x. So what's my first step to do that?
Distribute.
Distribute. 6 times x. 6x. 6 times negative 12. Negative 72. And last step to get y by itself. Add 82 to both sides. Negative 72 plus 82. Nope. Negative 72 plus 82. Positive 10. Last thing here, change y to f of x. We get f of x equals 6x plus 10. We okay there? Okay, real quick, I'm going to go through the other method really fast here. Do you want to use the same point or a different one? Same point. So plugging into slope-intercept form, I get 82. That's my y value equals my slope of 6 times my x value of 12 plus b. 6 times 12 is 72. Subtract 72 to get b by itself. B equals 10. F of x equals 6x plus 10. Same answer. Are there any questions on that? Okay. We have like less than a minute left, so you'll get your assignments tomorrow in class. No assignment tonight. Are there any questions before I end the recording?